Ecosystem. Ecosystem is the functional unit of nature where living organisms interact among themselves and also with the surrounding physical environment. Terrestrial ecosystem: forest, grassland, desert, etc. Aquatic ecosystem: ponds, lake, river, estuary, etc. The components of ecosystem. The components of ecosystem that are seen as functional unit are productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycling. Productivity. Primary production is defined as the amount of biomass or organic matter produced per unit area over a time period by plants during photosynthesis. The rate of biomass production is called productivity. It can be divided into gross primary productivity (GPP) and net primary productivity (NPP). GPP of an ecosystem is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis, and NPP is the remaining biomass after respiration R. GPP minus R is equal to NPP. Decomposition. Breakdown of complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, and nutrients is called decomposition. Decomposition involves following steps. Fragmentation of detritus. Detrivores feed on detritus. Breakdown increases the surface area of detritus particles for microbial action. Leaching. Soluble inorganic nutrients dissolve in water, percolate through the soil, removed due to leaching action. Catabolism. Decomposers, bacteria, fungi, release enzymes, decompose detritus, simpler inorganic compounds. Humification. Simplified detritus, converted to humus. Mineralization. Humus is degraded, releases inorganic substances and nutrients. Factors affecting rate of decomposition. Chemical composition. Decomposition rate will be slow when detritus is rich in lignin and chitin, and rate increases when detritus is rich in nitrogen and water-soluble substances like sugars. Climatic conditions. Warm and moist environment favor decomposition, and low temperature and anaerobiasis inhibit decomposition. Energy flow. There is a unidirectional flow of energy from the sun to producers and then to consumers. Photosynthetically active radiation is responsible for the synthesis of food by plants. Animals obtain their food from plants, so they are called consumers. The process of eating and being eaten is called food chain, in which energy flow from producers to consumers. In grazing food chain, grass is eaten by a goat, and goat is eaten by man, and so on. The detritus food chain begins with dead organic matter. It is made up of decomposers, which are heterotrophic organisms, fungi, and bacteria. These are also known as saprotrophs. Sapro, to decompose. Decomposers create digestive enzymes that break down dead and waste materials into simple inorganic materials, which are subsequently absorbed by them. Natural interconnection of food chain forms the food web. Each trophic level has a certain mass of living material at particular time called a standing crop. It is measured as biomass of living organism or number in unit area. The number of trophic levels in the grazing food chain is limited as the transfer of energy follows 10% law, that is only 10% of the energy is transferred to each trophic level from the lower trophic level. Ecological pyramids. Ecological pyramid is a graphical representation of an ecological parameter numbered biomass energy sequence-wise in various trophic levels of a food chain, with producers at the base and the herbivores in the middle and carnivores at the top tiers. Three common ecological pyramids are Pyramid of number employs the number of individuals per unit area at various trophic levels, with producers at base and various consumers at successively higher levels. It is generally upright. Pyramids of biomass represents the biomass in various trophic levels. A pyramid of mass is upright except in aquatic food chain involving short-lived plankton. A pyramid of biomass in sea is generally inverted because biomass of fishes generally exceeds that of phytoplankton. Pyramids of energy that gives graphic representation of amount of energy trapped by different trophic levels per unit area. Pyramid of energy is always upright, can never be inverted, because when energy flows from a particular trophic level to the next trophic level, some energy is always lost as heat at each step. Example in feeding, digestion, assimilation, and respiration. Ecological succession, the gradual and fairly predictable change in species composition of a given area, is called ecological succession. During succession, some species colonize an area and their population becomes more numerous, whereas population of other species decline and even disappears. Orderly and sequential change that leads to a community that is near equilibrium is called climax community. The entire sequence of communities that successively changes in a given area is called series, and individual transitional communities are termed serial stage or serial communities. Ecological succession, primary succession, secondary succession. Primary succession starts where no organisms are there, for example bare rocks, cooled volcano, etc. Secondary succession occurs in the area where the living organisms have lost due to certain reasons like forest fire, earthquake, etc. Succession of plants. On the basis of nature of habitat, succession of plants can be grouped as hydract. Succession takes place in wetter area and the successional series progress from hydric to the mesic conditions. Xeric succession takes place in dry areas and series progress from xeric to mesic conditions. The species that invade a bare area are called pioneer species. In primary succession on rocks, lichens are pioneer species that secrete acids to dissolve the rock for weathering to form soil. In primary succession in water, the pioneer species are the small phytoplanktons that are replaced by free-floating angiosperms. Primary succession is slow progress as soil is not available for pioneer species, but secondary succession is comparatively faster due to availability of soil or other nutrients. A climax community is reached much faster in case of secondary succession. Nutrient cycling. The movement of nutrient elements through the various components of an ecosystem is called nutrient cycling. It is also called as biogeochemical cycles. There are two types of nutrient cycles. Gaseous exist in atmosphere. Sedimentary exist in earth crust. Environmental factors like soil, moisture, pH, temperature regulate the rate of release of nutrients into the atmosphere. The function of reservoir is to meet with the deficit which occurs due to the imbalance in the rate of influx and efflux. Carbon cycle. Carbon cycling occurs through atmosphere, ocean, and through living and dead organisms. Most of carbon is fixed by plants due to process of photosynthesis and returns to atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide during respiration. Burning of wood, forest fire, and combustion of organic matter, fossil fuel, and volcanic activity are other sources of releasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Phosphorus cycle. The natural reservoir of phosphorus is rock, which contains phosphorus in the form of phosphates. On weathering, Minute amount of phosphates dissolves in the soil solution and absorbed by the roots of the plants. The waste products of dead organisms are decomposed by bacteria to release phosphorus. Gaseous exchange between the organism and environment is negligible as compared to carbon. Ecosystem services. The healthy forest ecosystem purifies air and water, mitigates floods and droughts, cycles nutrients, generates fertile soil, provides wildlife habitat, maintains biodiversity, etc. Researchers have put an average price to tag $33 trillion a year on these fundamental ecosystem services, which are taken granted because they are free, although its value is twice the total global gross national product (GNP).